Do you ever wonder how, if the Tauntaun froze to death, it was able to keep Luke warm enough to stay alive? I wonder that sometimes. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. Today we're going to talk about the core important teams in this game, the ones that you need to farm first, folks. This is kind of, in a way, a preliminary, something to get ready for. I'm going to be making a new player guide, and I mean, these teams are all really important at pretty much every single level of the game. Like, they all age really well, and even if they kind of fragment into other squads or whatever, like, all of the components are still very relevant even in the end game. And so, like, these squads are just kind of eternal in a way, and I already made a video about them. I'll show you the thumbnail in just a minute, and I'll link that in the video description. I made a video showing all of these teams in action, or at least most of them, so you can go check that out when you're done with this. It'll be linked, like I said, at the end of the video. You'll also just be able to see a little thumbnail you can click on, etc. if you don't want to go into the description, if you want to watch this one first, etc. So let's jump into real quick, folks. Thank you, my patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. Truly appreciate all of you. You are amazing, and I couldn't do this without you. Thank you guys, truly, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much. Folks, just a reminder, if you want to support this channel for free, all you've got to do is hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. It helps. It helps. Even just a small comment. Even just a comment that says Xerath. And that's it. No, don't say that. That's most of you can't spell my name, so don't. I would prefer you never do that. Now, this is the video that I made. I released it the day before this one. So you can go click on it. This is the one showing all of the squads in action. And I think, honestly, it's pretty important. It's good stuff. I'm showing you guys how to do it. I wanted to have something to refer to you guys, so that I'm not just like, oh yeah, just use these squads and it's easy. You'll have some idea, some inkling of how these squads work, and we'll get into it more when I actually make a new player guide and I start making a few you know, more basic guides to help you guys. But one way or another, this is a pretty good resource, I think. A good tandem of its own, trying to get these two videos, you know, kind of linked together. That being said, let's actually go into we're just doing a slideshow. It's going to be fun. And, hello there. I'm way down here at the bottom now. I'm going to get a drink from my epic Xerath Prevails cup. You can find that in the merch store, guys. I think it's linked somewhere. That being said, let's see. What criteria are we using? Why are these squads so important? There are 10 total squads here, folks, and the criteria I'm using is we just want to get as many resources as possible so that you can upgrade stuff at your leisure. This game has an enormous amount of things you can upgrade and work on, and they all require a lot of different materials or currencies or some kind of supplies. It's very suppliesing, really. It's not that suppliesing. But like, what things are most important? Like, character unlocks are going to be very important in this game. Trying to keep you ahead of the game, trying to help you, you know, get ready for the next big unlock. And so Conquest is really important because the new characters, a lot of the new, hot new, awesome characters are coming out through Conquest. Proving Grounds is one that you have to be prepared for. I know that you need to be, so for Conquest and Proving Grounds, both, you need to have 4 million GP, which, I mean, that takes like a year, at least a year. And so, but you need to be ready for it when they get here, because Proving Grounds and Conquest are how you unlock a ton of very important characters. ROTE is the way I use, and CG uses, to talk about the territory battle, the rise of the Empire, And that's kind of a minor concern for a lot, because a lot of these teams you're like, well, yeah, you could use it in ROTE, but a lot of times like your GP is going to be more important anyways. You know, you're going to get into a guild and you're all going to just flail at the first couple rounds and then, you know, deploy a bunch and still get a bunch of stars. The assault battles are understatedly important, guys. You get a lot of the supplies that you need from assault battles, and they're very easy. They just have sim buttons if you can get them right. So very important squads, very important to get squads for that. PvP, obviously, you get crystals, you get droid brains. It's not as important. We've talked about that on the video. Not as important as lately, though. It's like the most fun, in my opinion. The crate raid is also very, very important, folks. You need to have some squads to help you with that. Even early game, you need some squads to be able to compete in that, because if you're not contributing anything, then you're dead weight. Your guild doesn't want you. But if you're contributing, you're actually going to, I don't know. I do know, in fact, you're going to actually be embraced. Your guild is going to be like, wow, why did we ever doubt you? And then they'll remember, but it won't matter because you're good at the raid. Fleet Arena is probably the most important, frankly, because that's where you get the most consistent source of crystals, especially early game when you're not getting that much from GAC, frankly. Alright, so first one is Bounty Hunters. This is the most nebulous one. I'm like, hey, guys, like, don't have faith in me. I'm going to tell you the one faction, like it's an entire faction, go farm it. Here's the thing though, you want the pilots, you can see I've listed them there, Cad Bane, IG-88, Bosk, Boba Fett, and then Beskar Mando isn't a bounty hunter, but he is a pilot for the Executor fleet, and so you're going to be wanting to farm all those ships and all those characters and getting up to relics eventually. Though I don't really, once I make my new player guide, like I'm going to map out which capital ship that you should go for first. I'm not convinced that it's going to be Executor for sure. Like it might be, but we have to see what Leviathan is capable of and what squads or ships, fleets, whatever, are capable of taking it down. But you want bounty hunters for a lot of different reasons, guys. Beyond the fleet, they are also a pathway to kill a lot of different teams in GAC. In territory wars, they're like you can kill Lord Vader with bounty hunters. For instance, you can earn Wampa and Rolo shards with them from their special event. You have an assault battle with them, though you can't get the max tier, not unless your bounty hunters are maxed out, but you can get the second one fairly easily if you have them relicked. And there's a lot of reasons, guys. They're all unlock requirements for various factions and characters. I mean, you don't need them to unlock factions. I should just say they are used to unlock a lot of different high-end characters, galactic legends, legendaries, all kinds of legends and myths and stories and rumors. I just made that the last probably 3 or 4 of those up. Now CLS Rebels is another team that so this is the one that I really focused on first, and that I like to focus on first. So Chewbacca, you need bounty hunters to unlock Chewbacca. For instance, Raid Han, you can just buy for currency, which is like it's fairly cheap. You can farm him pretty quick. In fact, Commander Luke, you do need some specific characters to be able to unlock Commander Luke. The requirements aren't that onerous. And then one of the things that is understated that people don't really understand or care about as much is C-3PO is crazy important, in fact, because he helps you, he gives you an Ewok team that you can, like that Ewok team then helps you get Zetas all the time. It's an early source of Zetas, and you get Shard Shop currency. It's important. The squad all combined is just the real deal. It kills some Galactic Legends, not like the really good ones, but it kills a lot of different meta teams. You can put it on offense or defense a lot of times. You can use it in PvE events. There is a Rebel Assault battle, and they just destroy the Rebel Assault battle. You can, I think probably the most important thing eventually is that they help you on Proving Grounds for the first several levels, which is really nice. And I'll be making a video at some point about how to beat those nodes and everything, but it's yeah, like Rebels just smash it. It's pretty nice. And they're really good in Conquest, hard Conquest, easy Conquest. They just they conquer all. It's very impressive, folks. That's a very, very strong team. And honestly, you don't need that many. Does Chupio need Kyrotech? Probably. The rest of them don't, because they came out before Kyrotech existed. Very, very strong team. It does take a little bit to get them, but if you're farming all this other stuff, like, it should absolutely be a somewhat early goal for you to be getting this team, honestly. NIGHTSISTERS are a team that I've watched a few new player guides at this point, guys, and I am so shocked at the disdain that so many people show for NIGHTSISTERS. I'm not saying all of them do, though most of the guides that I've watched actually are just like, yeah, NIGHTSISTERS aren't that important. And even with Marin just coming out, like, it's not that they were important, they're only important now because of Marin. Marin does make the team better, for sure. This is the squad that you should be working on, probably. Like, farm the other stuff too, but NIGHTSISTERS, by the way, NIGHTSISTERS are another early source of Zetas every month consistently, being able to unlock, like, if you unlock Talzin early, then you can just start getting Zetas every month. They give you an event that lets you farm them. But otherwise, folks, like, this character is really strong. This entire squad is really strong. Even without Marin. Yes, Marin makes it stronger, but even before that, they were dominant in Conquest. In fact, the reason I liked Conquest initially wasn't because of any of the cool data discs and stuff. I mean, I guess it was in part due to that, but it was because those discs, like, I made different builds than everyone because I loved playing the NIGHTSISTERS in Conquest. They destroyed so many nodes. They do so much work, and my 4.5 million GP account is using this exact squad to get 5 boxes. Like, I'm getting to box 5 in hard Conquest, and NIGHTSISTERS are a big reason for that. They are dominant in Conquest. They're amazing, and they're really good in PvP as well. When Marin is a wake-up call for a lot of squads, it's like, wow, I guess I won't be using X squad anymore on defense because Marin just picks them up and you get good banners for them. Shit, they're all really good. If you decide you really love them, you can get them all up to Relic 7, which is a crazy amount that even my main account with a big roster, and like, I only have them at Relic 5. So Relic 7 is too much even for me, but if you do decide to do that, you get a special mission to earn your guild GET2, which is actually fairly important, and I'll be working on eventually for my main account, but right now it's you can't quite do it. But it's also just a very fun squad. It beats a lot of different teams in GAC and in Territory Wars, and yeah, they're fun, guys. It's really fun. And the other awesome thing is you only need old Daka to be able to, you only need her for relics. That's it. All of the rest of them don't need relics. Like, Asajj probably benefits from relics. They all probably do benefit from relics, except for maybe Zombie. You need her at gear 10, and then probably Marin eventually wants gear 12, because that unlocks one of her abilities. So, I mean, eventually, I guess they will be mostly not purple, but like, you want them to die early and often because of their mechanics. It is super fun, guys, and Marin just makes it more crazy and awesome. General Grievous droids, guys. This is another one that I just found myself so shocked. Like, a lot of early game guides are like, hey, yeah, like, Grievous, yeah, that's cool. Like, get malevolence eventually, maybe, like, free ship. And they kind of just disregard the rest of the squad. They're like, yeah, you need Geos instead for the, maybe for, like, the Geo territory battle. And I don't mean to just throw a bunch of shade at other content creators or whatever. I find myself that I find myself very surprised that other people don't value this team. Like in GAC, this kills so much stuff if you know how to mod it, if you know how to use it. Even with these, so what you want to do is kind of layer their, like initially you want to layer them so that they all die at different times. So like Magnagard, fairly weak, dies before B2. Newt probably dies before Magnagard, and then B2 dies, and what happens is Grievous, when you get him to relics, which you should be farming Grievous immediately if you're a new player, like as soon as you get to the ship part of the game, which it doesn't take too long. Once you get to ships, like farm him every single time you see him. He's a rare farm, and it takes months to finally get him unlocked. But guys, if you can unlock Grievous like early, it is so crazy strong, because you just what happens is they kill your team, and one by one he just does his blender move. It resets his cooldowns, and he just does an AoE after AoE after AoE and just destroys your enemy's team. Now if they have high enough relics, they can just kind of ignore it, I guess, but if you put enough good modding and good health and everything on him, then you know, in relics they can't ignore it, and you just kill the whole team. You get bad banners in GAC, but or territory wars, but it's very fun. It kills teams, it kills Galactic Legends, it kills Star Killer. There is a ton of stuff. Like one of the best squads, my favorite squads in the game, folks. And General Grievous is an important pilot. All of them are requirement characters for various things, for like General Skywalker or for Lord Vader, and eventually you're going to want relics on them. They scale really well with more relics, guys. This is one of the best squads in the game, and it's also amazing in Conquest, which a lot of times requires like you need to get droid kills, you need to win with separatists. Like it covers a lot of different bases, and I feel like it's just not on people's radar. Like, yeah, you need Grievous for Malevolence, and that's it. Like this is a pretty early game squad that you should be working on, in my opinion. Palpatine Empire, this is a really good one, because Palpatine is an early unlock. You can get him before you're even 85. You're like in the 70s, and be able to unlock him with just a smattering of rebels, and then you can farm Mara Jade. Mara Jade doesn't need to be very strong. She just needs to be like gear 8 and like 3 stars, and she still just destroys people. She destroys so many teams because of the turn meter manipulation interactions with Palpatine. You don't even need to put, you can see I don't even have Zetas on her. I don't intend to put them on her because she's not there. Like the Zetas are almost irrelevant for what she does. She just manipulates turn meter and makes everything go. And then at the end of the day, like Darth Vader, you probably want him to be relic. Like 7 is a little crazy, honestly, for this level of account, but he is a requirement character anyway, so you want him to be relic. But he's really good. Remember that core 3 is really the important part. Palpatine, Vader, and Mara. Eventually, they'll kind of go to other places, like you're kind of getting prepped for Star Killer, for instance, but, you know, Emperor Palpatine and Mara Jade will go with Star Killer for the most part, but otherwise, this whole group is pretty strong. Like Thrawn is an unlocked character. Gideon, you might not need to farm him that much initially, but like for GAC, he does a lot of work. He does a lot of work in a couple different squads, depending on where you want to put him. He's a very, very useful character, and you know, the squad just, it keeps going, guys. It has good, it's good in GAC, and then it's Empire, so you'll be able to do all the things they require, like, hey, Galactic Challenges requires you build an Empire team or whatever. It's really good. I think that there is an assault battle for it. I don't think I put that here, but I think that there's it's just required for several PvE events. The squad is very, very relevant, guys. You can even kill some Rey teams, like Jedi Training Rey, not just Jedi Training Rey, like Galactic Legend Reys, and they're all requirement characters, and you have to unlock them for, like, they're just, this team is very, very strong early game, because people don't have the tools to shut it down, and yeah, it's a ton of fun as well. Like, you just get unlimited turns, basically. Mara Jade, if you learn how to loop it well, it's very cool to see the team in action. Now, Padme is a team. It's kind of just a weird case of like, it used to be a team that existed and was very good, and people like placed it all the time, and it was a serious thing. Like, how do you beat Padme? Or it was like you use Padme to counter NIGHTSISTERS, who were like a team that was placed on defense a lot. Now, that's kind of fragmented a little bit, splintered off into a few things. But if you, its core components here, guys, are a bunch of characters that like they do really well in Conquest. They're kind of almost overpowered in Conquest. In fact, not just the Padme teams you have to kill yourself, but the Padme teams you use. You also, those middle three characters are pilot requirements, which it's crazy that R2-D2 still doesn't have a ship. He flies all the ships. He plugs in to all of those sockets, unprotected and everything. He is living dangerously, to say the least, but it's a good life for him as well. Now so this team is great. The middle three characters are pilots for very important ships for that negotiator fleet, which is probably going to be your fourth strongest fleet. It's probably going to be like your second favorite strongest fleet for a little bit, in fact, until you get both Executor and or whatever the other ship is, Profundity. And anyways, the squad is very good, and then it's Splinters. So it's good in PvE though, as is. Like, this version of it is great in Conquest. There's Galactic Republic missions and stuff that you need to do, and the squad is very strong on its own. Eventually, once you get like Jedi Master Kenobi, or you unlock Cat, which is Commander Ahsoka Tano, like this whole team is going to be, Splinter. Like I said, Qui-Gon Jinn. If you put the Omicron on it, it just changes things. But at the end of the day, here are the Splinters, kind of. So you make a Gidme team, which Gideon, you guys saw on that Palpatine squad. Eventually, Padme splinters into this Gideon squad with a bunch of support characters. And you're just able to delete people with the courage mechanic. Courage, I said it very strangely. But then you have the Qui-Gon Jinn, which is probably going to be the first Omicron that I advise people to apply. I'm not entirely sure about that, but it seems a little bit likely that that's what I'm going to advise people to, because it's such a fun team, guys. And you can see the Shock TM double dipping. So what? You probably put like Mace on here or something. I don't freaking know, guys. We'll go more into depth on that in a later video. This is more of just an overview of like, hey, start working on these teams. They're very important. Imperial Troopers. This is another one that I've seen people disdain like crazy. And here's the thing, they're unlocked characters anyways. You need Piet for like at least one Galactic Legend. I don't remember even which one, but maybe Lord Vader. I don't know. Who cares? He is important though, guys, and he's also the pilot for Executor, which is amazing. Stark is a requirement for Sith Eternal Emperor. Veers is a requirement for Sith Eternal Emperor. The other two, Dark Trooper, that's where all the power comes from. He punches people right in the face. Range Trooper is very easy to farm, and his gear isn't that bad, especially with all the different gear fixes that they keep putting into place. And the really cool thing about them, guys, is they'll get you 2 different assault battles. So you remember I said that the Empire team has an assault battle. This is one of them. So they double dip. They have one that's specifically for Imperial Troopers that can help, and then one for Empire that they're all like, hey, we're also Empire. So they'll actually get you the max reward in both. You have to have them relict for the most part if you want to get the max reward, but man, once you, it's free money, man. It's free resources. They give them to you free. It's wonderful. They're also really good in Conquest. Well, they're required for Conquest. I will say that the Iden Versio team is probably in general better in Conquest for a lot of reasons, but Piet is, like I said, the pilot for Executor. He's also, if you don't want to build the troopers, at least build Piet, because he goes really well with that Emperor Palpatine squad. He is actually amazing on that squad. He's just he's even more amazing with troopers, and you want relics on probably Dark Trooper first and Piet so that he can be fast. And the other nice thing is only one of them has to be fast. Troopers make their living off of just being like never letting your opponent take a turn. They just walk up to a bunch of hapless civilians and just gun them down. It's messed up, but they win because of that. So it's a very strong, very strong squad, and you only need to have one of them be fast, and then you just ride a turn meter train. Like all these early teams, guys, ride the turn meter train like crazy. I think eventually, so the Tuscan team that's out there right now, don't farm Tuscans right now. I wouldn't recommend that, but the Tuscan team, for instance, is really strong just because it cancels out all of these turn meter teams pretty well. So anyways, troopers, very strong squad. Dash Scoundrels, this is one that I feel like is going to be contentious with people. I feel like people are just say like, oh yeah, just farm Dash and then just put him with whoever. There's not a lot of great planning around it. It's like, oh yeah, he's pretty good with some stuff and whatnot. And I just, here's the thing, Dash goes with Vandor. Farm Vandor, he's a easy, he's a hard node, I guess. He's not an easy node, but he's low energy, and with his Zeta and the Omicron on Dash, or you don't even need the Omicron necessarily if you have it modded right, but I mean, you want it, you do want it in GAC, but this squad is just really versatile in GAC. It's also, so Dash, you need him at Relic 7 anyways for the Profundity unlock, you need him at Relic 5 for Star Killer, and then his amazing synergy with Beskar Mando and Queel and IG 11, which are also, they just happen to be they're unlocked characters that are fairly easy to farm. So together they combine a pretty strong team. I mean, they just disintegrate things sometimes, guys. Plus, you all Scoundrels are the biggest faction in the game, and they are required for a ton of different things, and you just want them available for a lot of different things. And then at the end of the day, Scoundrels, if you want to make a different Scoundrel team, IG and Queel are plug and play for any team in the game almost. They do really well in a lot of different places. Very strong, and you need them at 7-star anyways to unlock Beskar Mando. Beskar Mando you need for the Razor Crest, for the Executor fleet. Everything is kind of a necessary element except for Vandor, but Vandor he's easy to gear, and he is crazy strong with Dash. It's astounding to me that people have Dash. They even have the Omicron. The Omicron is built specifically for Vandor to be next to him. I guarantee that's what they had in mind, and it works like a dream. Sometimes a bad dream. JKR, Jedi Knight Revan Jedi. This is initially the squad that you can use with them. And this is one of the first farms I think people should be doing, frankly. I think that this is a squad that you need Mission and Zalbar, but this is how you make an early dent in the crate raid, guys. With Mission and Zalbar, and then Jedi Revan, Basti, and Jolie, you can get a pretty decent score. Even if Mission and Zalbar are only gear 12, you can still do a lot of work with them. You can get 450,000 damage fairly easily, even at gear 12, even though you want Jedi Revan to be higher. This squad without the final two, add in Mission and Zalbar, that gets me a gear 12 Mission in Zalbar gets me 450 in on the account that I have right now for Prevail Man, this smaller account. So anyways, it's also really good in PvP. Obviously, you're gonna split it, and it actually builds to be a lot stronger in PvP as you unlock more stuff, like Jedi Knight Luke is going to add a lot to this team, etc. But yeah, this team is really strong, guys, and Jedi have an assault battle, surprise, and it just there's a lot of good stuff about this team, guys. Good for the raid, good for, it works in Conquest. It's not the very best in Conquest, but Conquest also, the whole game kind of revolves around Jedi. Galactic Legends are all Force sensitive in some way, and Jedi are just very important to it. This is good in ROTE as well, the territory battle. If you want to put more relics on them, you can see I don't have enough relics, but you'd relic 5 on all of them to work. But it's very strong Very, very strong team, regardless, folks. Finally, we have the Sith Triumvirate, and they do a lot of work. The biggest thing, though, guys, the reason you want them early, because you can kind of live without them a little bit. Like, you can get Traya, and you can, like, use her with Nest. You can do all sorts of weird stuff with Traya, actually. She's very helpful, but the thing you really want to be looking at, first, like, one of the bigger farms you're going to do early on is Starkiller, and so Darth Talon goes really nicely with an early Darth Traya team, and honestly, even with late Darth Traya teams, that's where I use it on my main account. In fact, that's where I use Talon. There's no Talon. Why I just consistently make this joke, but here's the thing. Savage, really good with his Omicron in GAC. Otherwise, he's not really that great with this squad. The thing that I was actually trying to say is, you want this squad for the proving grounds for later on. Like, you really want that for like the TIE Interceptor and the Malgus unlock, like the latest, most amazing characters you can't use CLS on. And in fact, a lot of them don't even let you use a Galactic Legend on. They just destroy the Galactic Legend. Traya, on the other hand, if you have enough relics on them, just goes in and manhandles them and helps you unlock them. And you want, like I keep saying, you want to start unlocking those characters as soon as possible, because they're some of the best characters in the game, and it takes a natural 17 months to unlock them after you start doing them. Proving Grounds, I have serious issues with some of the things in Proving Grounds, but for right now I have to play by these rules, and 17 months, I mean, you've already wasted about a year to get to the point that you can have Proving Grounds, so you got to get started as early as you can, and Traya is a great option for that. Great PvP. Ironically, none of these are requirement characters except for Darth Talon, who is required, of course, for Starkiller, but none of these are requirement characters. It's very silly. Like, maybe they'll be required for Leviathan, who knows, but we don't know that yet. But one way or another, like, this squad is, like, the mechanics for Traya are just so strong. She's been out forever, guys. She's one of the oldest metas out there. Like, Jedi Revan came out after her and encountered her meta. Like, she's older, but the mechanics are still just so strong, guys. It still just demolishes people, and she has an Omicron that is very, very impactful for GAC, and yeah, she's a lot of fun, guys. It's a good time. So this is probably the last. Yeah, oh yeah, there's a Sith assault battle as well. You're probably not going to get to the final tier. In fact, I know you won't, but it's still, you get to one of the higher tiers, at least with Traya. Eventually you need Sith Eternal Emperor to get you the rest of the way. But anyways, folks, what squads did I miss? What squads do you think are core to this team? Do not say Geos. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xerath prevails. Keep your eyes peeled for the new player guide. It probably won't be out for a couple weeks, but something I'll be working on. I've already started outlining what I want to do, and hopefully that'll be fun. It'll be a good time. We'll get more details as we move along. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xerath prevails.